Good morning, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your moon or ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link in there that will help you find it, and then come back and watch the videos for those signs, because it will give you more information about what's going on with you in the month of October. Usual rules apply. Take what resonates, leave the rest. If you want a personal reading with me, I can be reached at the email address that's in the description box below. I think that's all I have to tell you. Shout out to my friend who is an Aries, who informed me that the Aries reading had not uploaded. I went back and checked and it hadn't for some reason, and I'd already deleted it off my phone by then. So here we are, we're doing it again. Clearly, I needed to do another one, so here we are. Actually, you should go and follow her on Instagram, because she's an incredibly insightful tarot reader. She's called Wild Vintage Soul. So yeah, thanks for the heads up, dude. Right, let's get 3 cards for Aries for the month of October. I'm like heating up already. I've got a feeling this is going to be quite an intense read, even though I haven't even got any cards out yet. Right. And take that. It's Judgment. Card number 20 of the Major Arcana. Dropping cards. Let's get 2 more for Aries, please. The readings are time-stamped, so if you don't want to watch me shuffling, just have a look down in the comment box, and the first comment will be me time-stamping the video. Got the 5 of Wands. It's a Leo card, fire energy, like you, Aries. One more card for Aries, please, for the month of October. There it is. I knew this card was coming out. I don't know why I did, but I did know. It's the High Priestess, card number 2 of the Major Arcana. Card on the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. Fire element, just like you. Right. I'm going to get some clarifiers for the 3 cards that are down on the table, and then I'll go through and I'll show you what we've got. So, let's just give these a proper shuffle. So, where is Judgment here for Aries? Got the Fool. There's Judgment here for Aries for October. Ooh. And the 3 of Cups. Where's the 5 of Wands here? Take that. That's Judgment again. Card of Scorpio. And that one wanted to come out as well. 5 of Swords. Interesting mix of cards. Now, why is the Priestess here for Aries? Month of October. 5 of Wands again. And one more card for Aries. Month of October. Knight of Wands. A lot of fire on the table. I like that. Card at the bottom of this deck is the Queen of Cups. Right, Aries. So this is quite important. I'm getting a real sense of importance of this read, not just because of the number of Major Arcana that have come out on the table, but also the number of repeating cards that we've got. Excuse me. And I feel like I probably will have to pull another couple of clarifiers just to work out what is going on with you this month. So First card you've got is Judgment, and this is a particularly beautiful depiction of Judgment in this deck. There it is, look. It's card number 20 of the Major Arcana, which reduces down to a 2, like the High Priestess. It's a card of Scorpio for me, and it's quite a dramatic scene. You know, in the other, like in the standard depiction of Judgment in the Rider-Waite, which is this one here, you've got this angel blowing his horn, and he's resurrecting from the dead. Well, he's resurrecting the dead, actually. You know, it's the end of days. It's the final judgment. But there's a slightly different quality to this card. The dead in this card are not yet rising. There's a figure in the background here at the top of the stairs, and he has a horn to his lips, but it's not clear that it's been blown yet, because these dudes are still lying here with swords across their chests. You know, they're warriors. That's obvious from the way that they're lying here. But the general meaning of this card is about second chances. It's about situations that you thought were dead and buried coming back. But the fact that these warriors here, and I feel it's important to say that they're warriors, it might be because there's quite a lot of conflict actually indicated later on in the spread. I feel like this is the moment before the resurrection. It's the moment before the second chance at something. Perhaps you haven't quite realised yet that you want a second chance at something. Or perhaps it's not become evident to you that a second chance is a possibility. Because I feel like you're one of these people down here. I don't think you're this dude up here. Right. And the card we have to clarify is the Fool. And the Fool is the card of new starts. It's a card of moving on without baggage. You know, he's got a stick here, but he's only got a tiny little hanky with his belongings in. You know, he's moving forwards in absolute trust and faith. It's a new start, but it's also a leap of faith off into the unknown, which is interesting because it conflicts slightly with the notion of going back to something that you thought was already dead. Like, this covers uncharted territory, ground that you have not covered before. And then we have the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups can be a card of friendship. It can be a card of celebration of things, but it can be the card of reconciliation as well. And there's a little pumpkin down in the corner. Now, as you know, we're coming up to Samhain, to Halloween. So perhaps whatever it is, either it's going to be the very end of the month where you become aware that this is something that you can do, or it will happen by the end of the month. I'd like to pull another card or two on this one because I feel like there's something missing from this little collection of cards, and I want to make sure that I've got it right because, like I said, Judgment's come up twice. So this is important, whatever it is. Another couple of cards. Oh, I jumped. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune card of Sagittarius, a sister sign to you, another fire sign. Number 10 talks about cycles. That ties in very nicely with these two cards here. You know, we've got an end and we've got a beginning, and we've got the wheel that is the machination between the two. And there's a look, judgments at the bottom of the deck here as I'm holding it in my hand. Another card, this Aries, October. Got the Two of Pentacles, that's another 2. There's a lot going on inside you, Aries, at the moment. All of this stuff is inside you. One more card for Aries. Month of October. I knew it was going to be that card. So we've got the Four of Cups. It's water energy. But that means now that we have the Three of Cups and we have the Four of Cups on the table. And I'm struck by the moons on these cards and how they're facing in opposite directions. You know, they're different phases of the moon. It's different times of the month, perhaps. Whatever happens, your fortunes are going to take an upswing this month. And I feel like it's perhaps because you've been doing a bit of work on yourself internally. Like there's strong internal workings signified by the cards that are on the table at the moment. A lot of moon, a lot of twos. I just noticed there's a sun at the bottom of the Wheel of Fortune as well. Yeah. And there's the sun on the Fool. As within, so without. I feel like that's the message here. You've been doing a lot of work on yourself. And you've done it. And this is sitting slap bang in between these two different phased moons. You're doing a lot of internal work on yourself to balance yourself, to harmonise yourself. And I think, if I remember rightly, there was a reading maybe 2 months or so ago where you'd kind of let your fire go out. You'd been a bit of a sodden mess because there was just too much water. There was no fire anywhere. And then last month, you really stepped into your power as a fire sign. You know, you were really, really channeling the fire element. But I think this month, what's important to you is knowing that you need to be able to balance the two. You know, perhaps you've got water somewhere else in your sign that you don't really know about. But either way, it does no one any good to be entirely one element. There is a balance to be struck somewhere, so within. As within, so without, and all. And in this deck, with this card, there are all sorts of, standard interpretations for this card, but what I always see is shadow work in here, because cups are emotions. We know that from the symbolism of the tarot, right? And this big fat rat is sat over the top of these emotions. And the moon is doing its best to illuminate it, but the rat is covering it. It's stopping anything going through. Any light shining down onto these cups. And for me then the purpose of this card is to get that rat out of the way, you know, by whatever means necessary. Get that rat out of the way and let the moon illuminate these cups. This is stuff that's deep down within you. And part of stepping into your power, as you did last month, was the realization that there is stuff in there that still needs to come out, you know, and channeling your fire energy means that you are now strong enough to be able to kick the rat out of the way and have a look and see what's in these cups here. Rather than a second chance, I feel like this is a renewal. You know, there's Judgment is the card of Scorpio, and there's always a transformative aspect to any Scorpio card. It's what they do, you know. But this is almost like you're on the brink of stepping out of the dark in your new shiny form, but you've just got a little bit more work to do before you can make that leap. And your future fortunes, I think, are very tied up with this. Very tied up. That way. With balance in the middle. I feel a little bit like I'm rambling, but I hope that it will make sense to someone. The next card you've got is the Five of Wands. And that now appears twice on the table. Appears later on as well. And it's your energy, which is good. And it's the card of Leo. But it's conflict. You know, all fives are about uncomfortable change, conflict. You know, it's shedding. The shadow card at the bottom of the Wild Unknown deck here is the Ace of Swords. It's truth. And it looks like a snake wrapped around the truth. And that in turn, look at that. It looks just like that. Perhaps you haven't come to life yet because you haven't discovered the contents of these cups yet. This is when you're going to fully spring to life, when you discover the truth about what's in your cups and you are able to balance it. Anyway, here we have the Five of Swords, the Five of Wands. And it's difficult to tell, you know, quite what's going on here. There's some young men and they're kind of flailing the wands around and stuff. But it's clarified by Judgment. Again. And I feel like this is an internal conflict with you. There's something that is yet to be harmonized. There's something yet that you need to balance out the truth of what it is. It is in a conflict, and Judgment reduces down to 2. Well, depending on which way you look at it, actually. That one would reduce down to 2. 1. No, it would reduce down to 2. This is internal conflict. And it's come as a result of you tooting this horn. No tooting in this horn, tooting in this one, and then conflict as a result. And you've got another 5 here, in the Five of Swords, to clarify. Yeah, this is not. It's not really a fun card. This, you know, this 2 people in the background here have laid down their swords and they've walked off. And then there's this chap here, and he's got his swords. You know, and it signifies a hollow victory, a Pyrrhic victory. Someone who will say anything to win the argument. But in this case, I feel like you are one of these people who are walking away. And this here, this smug looking chap, I feel is your... It's kind of like a personification of your inner conflict, you know. This is really internal. I feel like this might possibly be a way that you have spoken to yourself in the past, a way that you have treated yourself, you know. I often say we wouldn't keep friends very long if we spoke to them the way that we speak to ourselves. And given that there's so much internal stuff going on here, and there are cups sat under this big fat rat, I mean, like this big fat rat and this chap here, they're one and the same. And they're part of you. They're how you speak to yourself. And the conflict is coming about because you're starting to step into your power. And in order to do that, you need to excise from your internal workings all of those things that other people have put there, you know, all of those ways of considering yourself. And, you know, whether that is a parent or a sibling or a friend or, you know, whoever, or just society in general, who says that the way that you do things is incorrect, you know, or you are not pretty enough, you are not clever enough, you are not insightful enough, you are not enough in any way, that you are not worthy. That's where the conflict's coming. And this chap, who's just an unpleasant looking character, you know, smug, and this rat are one and the same. And this rat and this chap are going to fight you. They are fighting you because they don't want to go. They don't want to loose their hold on you, on your internal workings, on keeping you restricted and stopping you from achieving what it is that you need to achieve, why you're here. I'm just going to pull another couple of cards because this is really interesting to me. I'm getting shades of the Sagittarius reading for some reason. It's not the same, but there's something in it which is resonating in my head. I want a couple of cards, please. Yeah, I've got the Hermit. It's the card of Virgo, but it's also the card of internal work. It's about going within to find things, and that's very much what the whole scope of this reading is about. It's about going within, and you're doing it quite well. The Hermit is an impressive energy to be able to go in with, you know, within with, and another major arcana, yet another one for the month of October. I have one more card for Aries that jumped out. Got the Daughter of Wands. That's the page in the standard deck. And that's an entirely different energy to this and to this and to this. You know, it's talking about going within to rediscover your innocent fire, you know, to bring you back. The thing that jades us as adults is, you know, over time, you know, the experiences that jade us are the ones where we, you know, are criticised either by other people or by ourselves because we can't let things go, like accept something as a mistake, learn from it and move on. The pages are all about learning. They learn things, you know. it's like learning to be at one with yourself again. Like, we've got another snake. I just noticed, not only another snake, but another, you know, lemniscate shape like we saw on the 2. It's balancing out your fire and taking swords out, taking your rat out, as it were. Yeah, let's have one more card for Aries. Ooh, flew out. I've got the 6 of Wands. You know, we've got all of this snake imagery, and some people don't like snakes. I love snakes. And snakes, for me, they're about spiritual evolution, if nothing else. They're also about wisdom. Like, you know, ancient texts always talk about serpents and knowledge in the same, you know, in the same vein. But what snakes also do is they shed their skin and they evolve and they grow. You know, to me, that's 2 cards of evolution there. And your evolution is internal. But I say again, as within, so without. All of this work that you're doing here is actually going to start bearing fruit in your external experience very soon. The final card that you've got is the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is a water card. She's a card of Pisces, but she is 2. She is the absolute internal, you know, internal knowledge. She's the keeper of secrets. But she also speaks of intuition. Yeah. She's highly intuitive. She's actually just led by her intuition. But she doesn't speak about anything, you know. She doesn't give you the answers if she doesn't think that you are worthy of them. And maybe what we're talking about here, what we're looking at is a scaling up in your intuition, Aries, in the month of October. Simply because you're shedding your skin, you're killing this rat, you're getting rid of this dude here. You know, you're really nailing the internal conflict that you have, but it feels very strongly like it's shadow work. Very strongly. Because you realise you've got to balance yourself out. And the 2s speak, you know, intrinsically of balance. 2 of Pentacles. 2 in the Major Arcana. You know, and although she's a water card and there is water depicted on the card, she's also of the earth. You know, she's almost at one with the tree there. We'll come to another 5. 5 of Wands again. You know, any evolution, any kind of transformation, it's never easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it, you know. And I think the fact that it's come up here under the intuition is to tell you that it's going to be something that you're going to need to keep revisiting. You know, this is not a one-time deal. Although it seems like this month, this is quite a, you know, how should I put this? This is a leveling up, but it's not the only time it's going to happen, although it might be the biggest time that it happens, you know. You're going to constantly be revisiting it in order to keep your intuition strong, to keep your internal workings strong. There's a lot of coming back and revisiting, you know, to see if you've got any more cups sat under a rat. Deprogramming yourself takes a long time. I mean, if you're, say, like the majority of my demographic is say, women between the ages of 35 and 44, apparently, according to my stats. I've got about a quarter of my viewers are men, around about the same sort of age. So if that's how old you are, you've had 35 years plus of being told to do things a certain way, or being told that you are a certain thing or you are not a certain thing. You can't do this, you must do that. Like, that doesn't get solved with one spiritual download. It's a constant process. You have to keep revisiting it. You have to keep making sure that you're not building things on faulty foundations. So, you know, while something might have worked for you in the past, is that just a coping mechanism that you employed at some point to be able to get through a difficult point in your life? But now it's redundant. Now it's actually just holding you back. Now it's just restricting you. I think that's what this is trying to say to us. And then we have the Knight of Wands. Now this is great because this is your energy. Totally. I would say that this was the card of Sagittarius. And that's more Sagittarius that we've got on the table. So maybe you've got some in your chart, maybe you've got a Sagittarian around you who's quite helpful, but whatever it is, it's fire energy, so you can utilize it. And whilst he can talk of a lack of commitment and maybe even a short attention span, who knows, what he does talk about is living in the moment. And I feel like that's a balance as well. Because for me, she's timeless. She's future, past and present, all in one card there. You know, she kind of transcends time and space. But he talks about being right here, right now. You don't have to compromise your fire by being in touch with your water. And in fact, one acts as a check and a balance on the other and stops you going too far. No, actually, I will use that one. Just have Aries. Wow. That one fair flew out. Queen of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. Now, as much as I refer to myself as the Queen of Wands, as I am, I think, the astrological association is more often considered to be Aries. This is you coming up here, the very last card in the spread, but immediately preceded by the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is commitment. That talks about, you know, solid foundations. This whole reading is about balancing, right? This is all internal balance, right up until we get to here, and I feel like this is your external, right? We've got you showing up really strongly as you, but you've also got this. I mean, it's complete material, you know, fulfillment. It's abundance beyond your wildest dreams and all that kind of things. But, you know, it doesn't have to be about money. It really doesn't. It's about your needs all being taken care of. And I think the message from this reading is that, you know, you're like, it's self-care, it's shadow work. You know, you do all this work on inside of yourself. You balance all of these things out. and then your external world. You know, whatever is thrown at you, you've got a solid foundation to work from. You've got, you know, you resonating in your own power so strongly. And it's funny that this Queen should have come out for you, because the two shadow cards, I don't know if you remember, were the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Don't be afraid of letting that water out. Yeah, it's not gonna put you out again. It's not gonna happen. You know, you've got all the fire in the right places. You've got cups here because you know you need to deal with them. You know there's stuff that's got to be pulled out. And there's a new start coming for you. And I don't, you know, we've got the Fool and we've got the Ace of Wands here. And that's great. That's your ace. That's creativity and passion. It's sparky, awesome fire stuff, you know. But there's a new start coming. And maybe what's coming from the Wheel of Fortune is an upswing in your material circumstances. Maybe it is. But it really doesn't have to be. Because as you know, a thought can change your life, and you know, deprogramming certain thought processes and starting new ones can change your perspective on the entire fucking on the entire fucking world. And as I look down, the shadow card that's at the bottom of the deck is the Hanged Man. It's a card of Pisces. Again, it's another Pisces card, but it's about changing your perspective on things. You know, maybe your new start is just a real appreciation of what you have and where you are, and maybe how far you've come. You just have to do a little bit of work first. Either way, it's a gift, but it's a gift you've earned. I'm going to leave it there because it feels a little bit like it's rumbly, but I hope it's made sense to someone. If it has, like the video, you know, and if you'd subscribe, I'd be, you know, eternally grateful. And if you fancy, you know, sending me a message and letting me know, you know, what the resonance is with you, I'd be delighted, because I love to hear from you. But yeah, I'm going to close it out there. Take care, and I'll see you next time.